Hi everyone, I wanted to give you just a little update about this week. We're right now in South Carolina. We headed over to Moncks Corner, South Carolina, and we were there today for a demonstration. It went very, very well. Cut a large dead oak tree that needed to come down. The whole top was just really shaky. It's probably still about close to 100 feet tall, about 30 inches DBH, and it went over very well. A lot more hinge there than I thought there was, material-wise. But we finished up there and we headed out to back to where we were on last trip to South Carolina, to the DNR shooting facility outside of it's not too far from Sumter, South Carolina. And beautiful place here. We're going to be doing another class here today. Had a large class down in Moncks Corners, about 42 people, I guess. And tomorrow I think we're about 30 something. And then the next day after we finish up tomorrow, we're going to head up to Clemson, and I think we've got a full class up there. So hopefully everything goes well. We've had to kind of go in and out of some weather here and there, but it's went very well. Great group today, even with the large one. A lot of interest and all good comments. So it went very well. So along the ForestApps road is going great in South Carolina this week. Waiting on the building to get opened here, and this is quite a place here. I think I said one time it was Eastland. It's actually Eastover, South Carolina. It's going to be a beautiful day here today. Weather is looking very nice, and it's going to be hot again, but hopefully everything goes pretty well. We have a tree to take down after lunch. It's dead, and looking forward to that and going through it. Got a pretty good sized group today here. Well, just pulled into Clemson, South Carolina. Here tomorrow, our last class this week at the T-Squared LTAP Center here. And we drove up. We were, in Eastover for today's class. We had 16, mixture of cities and towns and some actual South Carolina DOT. But anyhow, we had 16, went good. We dropped a small tree, made a hanger, and then cut a big dead pine tree. Wasn't all that big, but it was a pretty good sized pine tree. Talked through some different things, went very, very well. It's a nice facility there, and hope to go back there again one day. Tomorrow we have a down tree up there, I know from the last class that we had here, and we're going to look at bucking and limbing on that one and take care of it. So it's going to be a good one. Going to be good weather tomorrow, I think. Storm's coming in here tonight, though. It's going to be kind of rough, but it's supposed to be good weather tomorrow. I can hear some thunder in the background. So I hope you had a good one. We did. Talk to you later. Bye. I wanted to share with you a little story that I thought of today. It took place when we had this large dead oak tree that we took down, and it was quite amazing to some of the guys. It had probably about 3 feet of back lean back over a fence, and when I got the face notch into it, I was looking very closely because there was a lot of damage to the front side of it. But once I got the face notch back into it, hinge looked pretty decent from the front, and bored into it on the bad side, and I had a good solid wood, so I wasn't too concerned. Put a wedge in the back, and we more or less I drove it over with double stack, and it went very, very well. But you know, I got to thinking about a story that I used to tell some. It had to do Soren and I always told it. We were going out to this one location. We were supposed to be there to start a demonstration about 8 o'clock. We were going down the road, and it was rocking close to 8 o'clock. We still hadn't found this place. It was on this Williams Road, was this cutting site. Well, we rocked down the road a little bit, and Soren said, well, maybe we need to ask somebody so we can get there on time. And about that same time, we saw this guy. He was going across the road, and a little old gentleman had a milk pail and a stool, and he went off the side of the road and went into a barn there. So I said, let's stop. So we stopped, and I got out, and we got out and followed the gentleman into the barn, and he had just sat down there next to his cow to milk it. And he sat down on the stool there and said, sir, can you tell us where Williams Road is? You're not very far, just down about another half a mile. You'll see a tree on the right side. Just turn right at that road, and it goes right out there to it. You'll be there. And so I said, well, what time is it? And the guy said, let me check. And he went up underneath the cow, and he put his hands up underneath, and he started lifting up, and he stretched a little bit, came back down. He said, it's 5 minutes till 8. I said, come on, Soren, we better get going. We'll be there on time if we hurry. And Soren said, I gotta know that. I said, what? He said, did you see what he did? He told time with the cow. And I said, well, yeah, I guess ask him. And so he said, sir, can you teach me how to do that? And he said, what? He said, you lifted that cow and you told what time it was. He said, can you teach me that? I have to know. And he said, yeah, I guess so. He said, sit down here on the stool. So he sat down on the stool. He said, now just spread your fingers and go up underneath old Betsy there, and just basically you've got a good hold there. He said, now lift up. And Soren almost had this cow up off of the ground. I mean, he was picking up really, really hard. And he said, what do I do now? He said, look over on the wall. See the clock? and we both kind of giggled a little bit. And the man was lifting up the udder to be able to see the clock that he had on the wall. And, you know, it's a lot of times we don't understand things until you don't see some things for the udder. And so it's important that we look from different angles and learn how to do things. And many times we look at dead trees, there's a lot of, I guess you'd say, skepticism as to what's going to happen, but it all goes back to those basics, which start the evaluation of looking at other things, isn't it? It's looking at things like any hazards or obstacles that could be around, to start to think about the leans of the tree in relationship to the hinge. So we look to see side weight, and we look to see forward to back weight in relationship to that hinge, which is the fulcrum in that fall. And as long as we have good fiber there in that hinge material, and we usually look for it to be about 10% of the diameter, breast height, and thickness of the hinge, the width of it, and then about 80% of the diameter of the tree at breast height and length of the hinge, that gives us a stability side to side, as well as it stays attached during the fall of the tree. And then you produce that with the back cut. Third thing we look for is, once we do finish, we have to have an escape. We have to look for a planned retreat path, and that's usually on the good side of the tree that we finish on, and head away 15 to 20 feet if at all possible. And then that hinge dimension that we just spoke of, we got to make sure that we have that 10% at least. And then also, how are we going to back cut the tree? Are we going to bore cut it? Are we going to cut from the back? Do we need a wedge? Do we need a rope? Do we need a machine? What do we need to be able to lift or support that tree in the direction we need for it to go, to allow that hinge and notch to accomplish our control and place the tree as we need it to do safely? And so all 5 of those are part of the udder. And sometimes we don't see things until we take that planning process to heart. So a little story to think about there. Hope you enjoyed it, and we're going to update you again along the ForestApps road as we finish up a couple more days in South Carolina. And so that made me think of that today, and just wanted to pass that along to you. Excellent story. Share it with your friends. Don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel and put the little bell so that we update you when we put new ones out on the air. And then also the podcast series. And I'll probably put this little one on both of them, and so it'll come out on the podcast too. Just search for Along the ForestApps Road at your favorite podcast outlet. So it's on Apple Podcasts, it's on Google Podcasts, Anchor, all of those popular channels. So it could give you a chance to listen to it as you drive or work, and so it's an excellent little refresher as you go through the day with your chainsaw. So we'll talk to you later. See ya.